And on the search box, type in application insight and select application insight, and select the Blazor application. Insert application insights, and on the left menu you can see other options. I'm gonna try to find investigate, so let's expand the investigate and click on availability. So this is the place where you can actually come in and check the availability or track the monitor of the application, things like that. We can add a standard test, so let's click on add standard test. So this is how you can do a test. So give a name for your standard test. I'm going to call it as basic availability test, and the URL for the Blazor application. So you can actually go and find the URL. This is the Blazor application which is hosted in Azure. You can see that. Oops, right click, copy. You can already see that it's azurewebsite.net. Go back to the basic availability test and provide the URL. If you want, you can play around with the settings. I'm not going to do that. Let's click on create. The availability test is being successfully created. All right, so now you can see that when you come here, the availability test actually tells you where it is running from. It is testing from multiple locations. If there is an issue with this availability of this particular site, it is going to always modify and notify you. So this is quite cool. You can come in and click on modify it or edit it, and you can see where all it is being tested from: North Europe, US, Brazil, and things like that. So that is quite cool. Now let's check the health check. To do the health check, let's go to the Azure App Service. So let's go to the search box, App Service, click on App Services, select the Blazor application we migrated, and on the left hand navigation, scroll down till we find the monitoring. And under monitoring, there is something called health check. So this allows you to monitor the health of the application. So by default it is disabled, so you can click on enable and just provide the path, and I'm gonna click on save and click on save. Now here you can come in and click on metric to see any sort of health related issues. Now it is not been busted or like don't have much load, but in case if you want to constantly monitor the health, this provides a good visibility. Here you can actually see a line chart, area chart, and things like that, depending upon how you want to view it and things like that. So why people do a health check is because it helps you increase your application availability by rerouting requests away from unhealthy instances and replacing instances if they remain unhealthy. The next, let's go and configure the Azure load testing. So what I'm doing here is to showing you multiple things you can do within your application after you migrate that to Azure. So to enable Azure load testing, search for Azure load testing. We don't have an Azure load testing, so go ahead and click on create. I'm gonna retain that in the same resource group. Most importantly, give a name for the load testing and pick a region, and I'm not gonna make any other changes. Let's click on review and create and create. So what is Azure load testing? Azure load testing allows you to conduct load test on your application and APIs with either a custom JMeter script or a script that Azure load testing generates for you. So what we can do is we can probably simulate a scaling scenario with Azure load test to see how the application, the Blazor application, reacts with automatic scaling enabled. So if you have an application running, you don't want any issues with the application, you can actually do these sort of testing to make sure that what happens when there is a load and things like that. All right, so let's learn how to do that. So the resource is created. So let's click on go to resource. So on the left hand navigation pane, you can see there is test. So click on test. We don't have any test created, so click on create. Click on create a URL based test. Test name, we don't care. It's basically the test name. Description, you can say that Blazor testing. Scroll down, click next, add request. In the URL, test URL, provide the URL. Under the load, you can come in here and modify the load. What type of parameters, how many concurrent users, all of this can be verified here. Total request, the time duration, all of this can be done here, and you can add additional things for monitoring and things like that. So click on review and create, and click on create. So once the test is successfully created, then you have an ability to run the test. So again, this is to basically show you, there are heaps of deep customization here, but primarily this is to show you additional components you can get after you update or migrate your app services to Azure. All right, so the test is started, and you can actually spend time here to actually view the results and things like that. So for us, let's go and learn something new. It's called performance counter query. So in the application insights, let's search for application insights. On the application which you want to test, on the left hand side, navigation, not investigation. Let's search for live metrics. Yeah, under investigation, there is something called live metrics. So this is where we will be able to review the graph, for instance, of count and things like that. So if you want to check the performance of the site, you can see there is quite a lot of variable performance metrics happening, a lot of ping coming in because the test is happening in the backend. So that's why we can see a lot of spikes in terms of activity. You can see that other activities which is happening, increasing the CPU percentage, memory, network bytes, number of virtual user instance and things like that. All of that is running quite heavily. If you want to stop it, you can stop it. So we're gonna just let it run. While that is happening, let's go to the application insight live metrics. Additionally, you can run queries to find out performance counters and things like that. So let's duplicate another instance. Let's go inside logs and click on logs. Oh, we haven't configured the log analytics. Oh, that's okay. So here you would be able to come in and run queries to find um, additional instances of performance counter and things like that. So there are multiple places you can actually look into it. Logs is one place where you can run the queries. Another one is the live metric insight to get the real-time data. And now the test is running because we provided a counter to actually go and increase the load of that particular website, which we just now migrated to Azure App Services. So I hope the information provided in this particular hands-on lab was helpful. So you kind of learned how you can actually validate before moving into Azure. Then you learned about migrating to Azure, a basic app, and then you learned about few aspects of what all the things you can do within Azure once you migrate your application, things like that. I will see you on the next one. Until then, take care.